morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is September 21, 2023, coming off the heels of Powell in his record breaking commentary of I don't know shit. Bender, what do you know? Bender? Am I here? Am I alive? Anyone?
I can
Anyone?
hear
Anyways, all right. So we got data. Data was, was what it was this morning. I can't expect a whole lot either way with this. I think one thing is apparent: they're looking for weak data in order to get the market to move higher. They need people to lose jobs. They need everything that the Fed wants regarding demand destruction to be, in fact, demand destruction. Without demand destruction, we get a whole bunch of red candles. Look, it's fairly obvious that the market. That we have some weakness in through here. It's fairly obvious that flow was pretty piss poor. That kind of leads to the overall picture that until flow change and until things change, that the play is going to be to the downside. Historically, if we look at what happened in '08 when he made a similar, not '08, but 18, when a similar type of narrative and thing was thrown out there, we bled until Christmas. Does that happen? I don't know. It's like it's a very messy deal. FedEx reported decently, had a nice pop yesterday, so we'll see with that. But one thing that is apparent, the consumer can't take too much more of a beat down, and Powell doesn't give a shit. He could care less about the consumer. He can care less about the majority of people in this country. So that's the landscape. That's where we're at. We know that flow walking into this is bearish. So now the question is, when we're looking at flow, when we're looking at different things like that, are we getting bull trying to buy this dip? Does Bear think that they got a pretty good chunk, considering that we bled for several days before yesterday? Where are we? Now, if you were watching futures last night and today and even this morning, these sell candles that can be, pretty heavy, there is a lot of volume on these candles to the downside, a lot. So that kind of leads you to believe that, there are people unwinding positions and getting off of things, not trying to get into things. Can that change in a heartbeat? Yes. Have we had, some pretty ridiculous, short squeezes that rip it back the other way with no mercy and then it peters out over the next several days? Absolutely. We've come down to a level, if you're looking at the daily, to where it is plausible we could get a bounce. Is it likely? I don't know. I just don't know. And the other thing is, the people that don't pay a lot of attention to the market, they'll turn and look. It's like, well, it's like the Dow was barely red yesterday. They have no idea what potentially could be coming, as far as what panic selling could be in the days and weeks ahead if we get continued weakness. Panic selling hasn't even come into the picture. However, looking at the charts, again, it is plausible we are in a bounce zone. Bender, you want to tell us some more?
Well, hopefully, and I actually was trying to speak earlier, but I had an issue with my mic. But just remember, like Powell said, no one will ever say we had a plan.
Dude.
That's pretty great. No one will ever say I had a plan.
Look, you combine that comment with the what would one more rate hike at the end of the year do to the economy or inflation? We don't really know.
Right. Maybe not test it like when we're where we are. I don't know.
What standard are you using to determine the right levels for rates? I don't know. We'll know when we see it, though. Hard to say.
Well, let me share my screen here. Let's get this thing going. All right. So first thing I want to do is let's just look at the daily real quick. Kind of all three. And we can see this low right here from the 18th. We are approaching it. We haven't taken it out yet. We did take out this candle's low, that 44.13.5. So we got this one hanging out here, 43.99. So when you talk about potentially being in a bounce zone, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Just like yesterday, maybe, right? Just like yesterday, I will be waiting patiently to see if we get that market structure shift. Kind of keeps me from knife catching, right? Now, I'll be watching.
To that point, Bender, to give you a little bit of credit, the reality is when you have sales like this over the past couple of days, past couple of weeks, however you want to look at it, waiting for a market structure shift, there's plenty of meat left on the bone to pay a mortgage or two.
Oh, absolutely.
Just,
yeah. You don't have to try to catch it.
Correct.
We can wait for that to occur. Looking at those lows from the 18th, you can see NQ still has a little ways to go if it wants to take that. I was looking at sort of this leg here. 2 standard deviations would be just below that low. So 14,781.25. So what, 100 and some odd points down from here would take that out. And you got the ES approaching it as well. Dow is a little different because it made another leg lower. You can see like this didn't make a lower low. This didn't make a lower low, but the Dow did. So,
and the pain on the down could have been, significantly worse if it wasn't for UNH's strength. There was one ticker and holding that mother.
Yep. So, looking at the three of them, I will be watching to see if we kind of get that scenario where 2 of them, break the lows and one of them doesn't, sort of thing, and then looking for that market structure shift to see if that comes in. If we kind of zoom in just to, let me go back to just the ES chart here. So now if we just kind of focus on ES and where it might go, what it could do, this leg right here from May, you've got 50%, we're just below that, and the 618 being down at 43.56.75 if it wants to go down there, right? So if it takes this 43.99 out and it can't reclaim that, these are 60-minute candles. There's not a whole lot, it's like chop type shit in here. So, more than likely it won't be a straight shot down if it does go down there. There's really not a whole lot, as you can see. 41.55, this low down here. You've got, so let me mark this out because this is actually right in here. That's 42.04, 42.04.75. You can see this bottom that kind of got created right here. So that would be a source of liquidity if it were to break 43.56.75. But in between kind of here and 43.56, so that's what, 60 points? Anybody's guess. Right in here. There's just not a whole lot, normally I'm looking to pick out certain areas that I would be interested in because of a daily fair value gap or something like that, right? So if we go to the daily, it's like this low right here. If it breaks that, then what do you have? Some chop shit right in here, 43.76 area, 43.80 right in here. And then you get into this daily fair value gap right around that 618. So Let me throw a box right here. Look like that. And then there's this daily volume imbalance kind of right in here. So where did they pick it up? Not sure. We do have a bunch of levels, obviously, above that we have left behind in the, whether it's, this gap up here, relative equal highs in a few places. Like there's liquidity to be had upside when they're done taking it below. And when they do, then, we can turn around and start hunting back the other direction. But for now, like I said, my plan is just to be patient and wait for that setup to occur. Now, if we get a bounce, let's talk about potential for short. So sitting 44.13 right now, coming into this 15-minute fair value gap. That could be, a place that you might look depending on where we are when the market opens. Right in here, potentially. Or if it manages to waddle its way back over the London session high, right up there, that would be another potential opportunity. Just like the market structure shift when we find the bottom, if you're looking for a short, ideally, you'd see these highs break that make that run on liquidity and then wait for the market structure shift back down. That leaves a fair value gap behind a short into.
But what time frame do you prefer to look for that market structure shift?
So I tend to, I have the 1 minute, this chart set up right here. I have this on a bigger monitor so I can see it really well, but I usually have this set to a 1 minute, and I just kind of bounce between, like I'll go to the 5 minute and, try to kind of just get the view of, okay, how close are we to these levels? What do these candles coming in look like? If we're trading into fair value gaps, back up and then rejecting them, like that gives me the picture. And then once we approach that level, then I kind of go to a 2 minute, I'll go down to a 1 minute, sometimes a 30-second, but I just kind of bounce between them. And when I start to see the makings of, that, like that swing high, like this sort of thing, swing high, lower low, higher high. When I start to see the makings of it, right, then I'll stay on the 1 minute, and I'll throw my lines there and just kind of track it. Because a lot of times you won't see it. You might see it on the ES, but the NQ maybe doesn't give you the trade opportunity. Meaning, when that market structure shift happens, it doesn't leave a fair value gap behind where you would look to trade into it, and it just keeps going, but maybe the ES does. So I'm watching all of them at the same time to see which one might provide that sort of setup. And I just kind of bounce between 1 minute, 2 minute. Again, sometimes I'll go down to 30-second, especially on NQ because of the way, how big those candles can be. And a lot of times NQ, you'll see it won't trade into, you won't see a fair value gap on the 1 minute, but you go to a 30-second chart and you'll see it and you'll see what they're trading into. So, and
so you got a plan for the day?
Like I said, be patient. No one ever will say that I had a plan. Pal can say it, I guess I can too.
Popular.
As you know, as I told you, last night was a late night, so I'm also coming into the day.
All right, we lost Bender again. Sonny, what you got, bud?
Morning, everyone. Um, just a few pieces of news. So, Broadcom, it's down about 5% this morning. Google plans to do their own AI chips. They're also looking to replace Broadcom with Marvell chips. Um, VinFast, that's VFS. We've seen it, some really crazy moves in that. I guess they put out the ER. Their Q2 23 revenue surged by 130%. While narrowing their losses. So their valuation is right now at $85 billion right now. Cisco is acquiring Splunk for 28 billion. I think the price tag was 157. So that one had a nice move this morning. There's
Yeah, they're
rumors
paying
that
157.50 a share, I think, is what I saw.
yeah, and they're also talking about the writers' strike maybe coming to an end today. They've been talking face to face. Um, so we'll see what happens. But we did see a lot of flow coming into April for WBD, CMCSA, and Netflix is at a nice zone. If this thing does get through, we may see some nice spikes into those streaming media companies, Disney, things like that. KBH did the ER this morning. They beat by 0.37, the beat on revenue. Deliveries decreased by 7%, but they raised their FY23 housing revenue guidance. We did see a lot of flow into KBH dark pools. Lennar would be a good sympathy play with this. Upgrades, ENPH. This thing has been rocking this whole week. High of day, high of day, high of day. Yesterday had a 125 calls. It peaked at around 127. The other ones are NTNX, IP, Grab. Uh, and on the downgrade side, we have BHF, SPRY, ULCC. Not much on the downgrade side. On the dark pools, we had some nice dark pools come into the semi sector. Let me pull that up real quick. So AMD, Intel, MU, Qualcomm, TSM, NVIDIA all got some nice dark pools yesterday. TTD, SoFi, Match, they are nice movers off of the dark pools. And financials, a lot of dark pool. Interestingly, like in the sectors, no dark pools came in after hours. Um, and discretionary was also got KO, Nike, got a little bit of dark, but nothing too significant. They're also trying to pump China. Hey, the news is bad, but it's not as bad, so you should buy. Couple of them, Wall Street Journal and Barron's, put up some articles on it. Um, and yeah, that's it.
All right,
Right on.
Stonks, what you got, buddy?
All right, it's time. I'm here. We got some stuff. Let's get the screen going. We can look at some smashings. But first, and even more importantly, we had a big ER with the FedEx. And I think it's time. Today on the docket, we've got the mystery box here. Who wants to bid on the mystery box? Come on down. Who knows what's inside?
Wait,
Nobody
I don't
can.
understand the game.
Price is right. FedEx.
Yeah, but what is it?
I mean,
It's a fucking cardboard box, and you don't know
Cardboard
what's in
box.
it. It's a mystery box. You don't know how this works, Hells? People buy these stupid mystery boxes for, it might be $10. It might be, I think Mr. Beast bought like $100,000 mystery box or some shit.
You could be the next Mr. Beast.
You could.
I don't understand. Who's Mr. B?
Yeah. Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast. You don't have kids, so yeah, you probably don't know.
Nobody
You
wants.
should still know. Yeah, I don't want the cardboard, so I'm not. I'll say 1 penny.
50 cents. We got one bid. Don't let.
But they could be any number.
It
could be
can, yes.
It could be $1
Correct.
billion.
Yeah, there could just be a fat stack of cash in there. Kmark's in at 1,001. All right. Well,
I'll say 99.99 just because it's like, well, no, I'll say 69.99. No, 69.69 is my number there.
69,
69.69.
Bender says no. Oh, not. All right. Well, we found out it was a past due bill in that one. Unfortunately, we got a winner. That's gonna be K-Merc. I hope you have a good trading day there, so you can pay your bills, K-Merc. All right. Let's look at the smash burger. Well done, K-Merc.
What was the answer?
Oh, it was a past due bill. Unlucky.
Okay, let's
going
try a
on
different
here?
game next time. That's like what?
I just have to entertain myself. Okay, so I keep talking about Smash Days, and we might as well look at when Larry would have had a good one here. So again, it's failed breakout, and we've had two in the past 2 weeks. So this was a candle that closed above the prior day's high. So Larry Williams would have been looking to short that day's low. That would have been a small winner. Then we had this candle closed above the prior day's high. Larry Williams would have shorted that low, and this is what Larry would be looking at now. So that would have been another nice winner. So currently, we closed below the prior day's low, so we would be looking for a smash day to the upside, and we would have a long way to go there on the Qs because that was a big candle. So we'd be looking at that 371.30, and the same applies to the SPY. So just something to be aware of. That's kind of the whole idea behind the smash day and what Larry Williams is looking at there. So I will continue to set the alerts, and we'll keep those in mind. So if we jump over, we can get into the NASDAQ here with the markups on it. Let's see. So we'll start on the daily here. We've got stops right here. We're almost there. And then the next level down will be looking at, we've got this guy here, and then we get into some larger gaps below. If we were to kind of reverse back to the upside, first thing I'll be looking for would be this 15.044. We can see, this could be basically an order block line off this big candle right here, and then we had a nice rip up. Jump into the 4 hour, we got this purple box above fair value gap and some other stuff left behind on the sell overnight as well. So if we just run, we're bear flagging right here, right now on a 2 minute. If we break this low, then I'll be looking to see what they're going to do with it from there. That'll be on the NASDAQ. Let's jump over to the Russell. Again, I'm using the continuous contract because the December didn't have much down here. So I've got this weekly volume imbalance here that we are now right at the bottom of. Russell weekly chart. Flip back over to the daily. We've been talking about this head and shoulders on the daily, which is now definitely played out, broken down, and then we had this daily fair value gap that ran to the bottom of the weekly volume imbalance, and we're sitting here now. If we slice through this, kind of similar to as Bender noted, we've got chop, and then we've got this key level down there, 1776. So if we push to the downside, that's kind of what I'll be looking for. If we can reverse up, we have the top of that daily fair value gap, and then next, this guy on the 4 hour got left behind. So this would all be kind of fair value gap territory on longer time frames. And then we've got new week opening gap above, and more fair value gaps. We'll see what we get, kind of take it one step at a time over there. The other, Sonny mentioned we had some pretty active dark pools last night. Let's see. So we have, this is kind of a busy chart. Meta, they hit it last night here, 297.33. We've also got left shoulder head, right shoulder, which is now breaking. So now what I'd be looking for, we have an older dark pool here, 294.24. That would be, based on where we are right now, that would be an upside target. And for put trigger, I'd probably be looking at something right around here. So we could do 292.35, get a nice round number in there. There we go. So we can see what we're looking at. So that probably have something down there as a pretty aggressive put trigger. If you want it to be more conservative, you can maybe move it down a little bit. 291.75, just to be conservative. So we'll see what we get on Meta, but yeah, the dark it's losing trend line. It's breaking the Head and Shoulders. We'll see what we get. The other one was going to be Microsoft. All right, so Microsoft, they hit it last night here, 320.77, 8%, average 30-day. And then, so for upside, I'll be looking for that. And then I would just see if we break down through this double bottom there on Microsoft to the downside, 318.10. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for. And I think that's all I've got for today.
All right. Hells?
Yeah, but
I think Hells is still over there trying to figure out what the mystery box was. Like he's
man.
This is just stupid. It's just stupid. It's like, it's stupid.
he doesn't get it.
just-
So
I
It's
don't-
gonna be such a fun day.
It's just fucking stupid. I don't understand. It's just,
What a good attitude. I don't understand, so you're stupid.
you gave us a box that nobody knew what was in it, and then you put a $6,000 price tag on it and wouldn't tell us what was in it. It's like, who's stupid? Who's stupid? You tell
it had
me
a
who's
past due bill in it. I don't think you get that
He
part.
showed the picture. I think Hells was probably Googling something else when Stonky showed
What's
that
a
picture.
mystery? Yeah, Hells was Googling what's a mystery.
All
box.
right, fine. Okay. So a couple of things. This appears to be an 89 game to me, the way the market is. We came down this 360 flat-ish area where we're trading right now on the Qs. That's the 89 on the daily. We've touched it a couple of times over the past few months, the 89, and we've bounced every time that we have. Now, we didn't have this thing in the air that we do now as far as the federales, but that 89, which basically call it 360 flat, we have bounced off of. Intraday, 89 on the 3 minute. I'll be looking to, as long as it keeps on rejecting the 89 on the 3 minute, got to be short. If it gets up and over it, got to try to go long. Today will be the 89 on the 3 minute for me. And I'll just play that accordingly as far as scalps. As far as overall equities and looking at positions, I will also have to look at this, whether I'm right or wrong, as a 3-day rule. This is basically an earnings report and guidance being offered by the federales for the entire the global monetary system. I have to look at it that way, whether I want to or not, two different things. But I have to view it, kind of with the 3-day rule would be a decent idea. If we're looking at bigger picture, they're going to be data dependent, right? I put this in quotation marks, in theory, such as in whatever. If data does not move into the direction that the Fed is going to make the Fed look like the smartest motherfuckers on the planet, we are going to go down and continue to go down. So instead of looking at it from the standpoint of, oh, is it good or bad for the economy? Is it good or bad for the market? Look at it, does it make the Fed look good or bad? And have that be your guide. At least I'm going to have that be my guide. So that's my plan. That's how I'm walking into it. I'm going to keep it very, very tight, very, very conservative, because I really just say, look, if we're going to bleed, there's going to be plenty of time to buy. If they're targeting NVIDIA under 400, if they're targeting Apple under 170, if they're targeting Tesla under 240, if they're targeting Microsoft under 310, if they're targeting all of these different things, which I believe that they are in a lot of ways, there's going to be plenty of time to sit there and play scoop to run it. Now, we've had a pretty decent sell on the NASDAQ, close to 500 points, Bender, in less than 24 hours. If we add it all up, we could get a bounce, especially where we're sitting on the 89 on the daily. That gives an opportunity to short. But the last thing that you want to do is get comfortable. That's all I got. You guys have anything else?
Yeah, here's last thing, and this will just take a minute. Here are some times that keep an eye out for today. So 7:09 a.m. was potential buy. 12:21. Was it 12:21? Let me go check. Double check. Yeah, 12:21. Potential sell pressure. These are on the 13-minute. So you had 12:08 NQ, 12:21 on the ES, and then potential buy pressure in the afternoon, 15:23 on the ES, 15:10 on NQ. So just kind of keep an eye out for those times. And that's all I got.
All right. And I might have to leave a few minutes early today. Get to go to the board meeting for the county. Should be interesting. Should be very,
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. All right, cool.
I had to promise a lady that I would not let them, know who my true personality. I had to promise to behave because we have to live here. All right.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That's it. We got 9 minutes. Let's go.